Tov. Okay, so we're going to start the ninth perek, perek tet. The ninth perek is a very controversial perek. Okay, because it's talking about the Hashgacha Pratit. It's talking about the direct interaction Hashem has with humanity. All right, so just a recap. We have learned for 7 chapters the intricacy and the complexity of humans and its relationship and the relationships, social relationships, etc. Then on the 8th perek, he took a tangent to address man's outlook and in the impact Hashem has on his life. That was the 8th chapter. Okay, and the 9th chapter, perek tet, is really going to come and address how Hashem interacts with us, not how our outlook of the relationship with Hashem, but a more generic and universal understanding of the interaction Hashem has and how much does he expose and does he control in creation. So before we even start, I need to make a disclosure, okay? That because we're gonna have to pick one philosophy or one shita, one opinion, in order not to get confused. Because this is the perek where you can completely get lost in, how much Hashem is involved. Does he control everything? He doesn't control everything. Does he control nothing? And if he does control, how much he controls? Does he know? He doesn't know. How can he know in advance if he gives me the free will? So this is the perek that will address a lot of these questions, but it could be understood from really polar opposite outlooks.
So who do you recommend we go by? Who have we been going by?
Until now, we didn't have to be exposed too much to conflicts. But here, if you're going to read 2 perushim, for example, you're going to read the Sforno, or you're going to read the Targum or the Metzudat David, they're polar opposites, but really polar opposites. So I'm going to give the 3 major verticals, okay, so that we know what's out there. Okay? And I'm no one to push you in one direction or another. Okay, I have my own outlook on things, and I have my own shita that I go by. Okay, I can always share it with you, but this is not it's really something that needs to grow within you, and so just so that you can connect to it and have a better, I guess, a better interaction with Hashem and a more comfortable lifestyle. Okay, with your emunah. If you guys don't want to discuss it because you feel it's going to rock the boat, we can skip it.
No, I like to rock the boat.
Let's rock it.
Okay. All right. So
you decide. You are the rabbi.
I'm sorry?
You decide. You are the rabbi.
Yes.
So we have 3 major opinions on what we call the Hashgacha Pratit. Hashgacha Pratit is Hashem's interaction and control over humanity as a whole and individually. So I'm going to go from one side all the way to the other. Okay? So the most pragmatic, the most, we can say, factual and almost close to at least the way, that's how it seems, atheist outlook of Hashem's interaction, right? It's a contradiction if it's atheist, but the most pragmatic, the simplest, the most logical way is the Rambam. The Rambam, okay, holds, and it's all over in Sefer Moreh Nevuchim, in a lot of his letters, and in Yad HaChazaka. He says the following: the Rambam feels that the world, Hashem created the world with rules and regulations and a system that's in place. That's it. Everything that happens within this ecosystem is random. Meaning, the trajectory of a leaf that falls, or which cat will eat which mouse, HaKadosh Baruch Hu couldn't care less. As long as the ecosystem is in place and the rules that he put in this ecosystem are applicable, this is Hashem's interaction.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that last part?
Yeah.
As long as the ecosystem works based on Hashem's will and rules, okay? Big rules, big verticals, big arteries, big laws. For example, the laws of Mazalot. What are the laws of Mazalot? Is the speed the planets go, and it's the constellation of all the planets, and all this will, and as long as they go the way Hashem wants it, Akol Beseder. Akol Beseder. Okay? As long as you have species in the world that allow this ecosystem to exist, Akol Beseder. He doesn't care if a shark will eat a red snapper, or he will eat a stingray, or a human. Okay?
But that could translate to humans too. A human can eat a human. He doesn't.
Exactly. Okay, but one second. I'm very careful with human, because so until now this is
just so I can write it down. Hashem created the world with rules and regulations with
In place.
regulations.
In place.
no rules and regulations that he put in place. Okay, and that's called the will of Hashem in the creation. That's the will of Hashem. That's Elohim, according to the Rambam. The rules, and those physical rules, okay, are triggered based on energy and actions. Okay, such as, for example, just the butterfly effect. Yeah, what's the butterfly effect? It can create a tornado on the other side of the world. Okay, that's part of the will of Hashem. Does that mean that Hashem wanted this tornado in that place? Not Davka. No, it's just that as this is the rules of the game, of the ecosystem.
And then the second part of it is that everything that happens within the system, and we're going to preface by saying that that's non-human for now, is simply random.
Correct. Okay, very good. Now, but what dictates in the beginning is Hashem's will, right? Meaning the nature of the lion is Hashem's will. The nature of the elephant is Hashem's will. Now, what each elephant does, or what each lion does, according to the Rambam, Hashem doesn't care. That's not what's important. Now, past that, you have humans. Humans, Hashem gave human intellect. He gave human a nefesh, a ruach, and a neshama. Every individual, doesn't matter Jewish or not Jewish, everybody was made the same. Okay? And through the intellect and through the wisdom, a person can reveal Hashem's presence in creation. And the more he reveals Hashem's presence in creation, and the more Hashem talks to him through that intellect. This is called Hashgacha Pratit. This is how Hashem connects to men. So the more you bring him into your brain, and the more he will guide you, his wisdom will be part of you, because you're gaining more wisdom. So the more wisdom you have from Hashem, the more you can apply it, and through that wisdom, Hashem talks to you.
You can acquire.
Good. This is why.
I'm not good. I'm not good yet. I'm sorry, Rob. I'm not good. I need a clarification on one thing. First of all, what's the exact definition of Hashgacha Pratit?
It's Hashem's interaction through the intellect a person gains in his life.
Okay. Now, you say the wisdom that you acquire from Hashem.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, there's just screaming in the background.
Yeah, sorry, it's me. Mechila, 1 second.
Oh, no.
1 second. I'm
no,
sorry.
no.
Leave them.
If it's you, it's okay, Rob. Adam, it's not okay.
Not me. It's Father's Day. I got a break.
Did anybody play that game, Roller Coaster Tycoon? Or know what it is?
Even we're still on recording.
No.
No, but it's the same thing where you put the roller coaster in place, you put the garbages here. So that's what Hashem did. He just put everything in place, and how the people react around it or how the animals react around it. That's all, because of where he put everything, but he has no control. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yes. So you were.
So I was saying. So
yeah.
you said the more wisdom you acquire from Hashem. To be clear, does that wisdom have to come from the Torah?
Oh, well, we're not there. We're not in the Torah yet.
I'm jumping.
Until now, we haven't spoken about the Torah. The wisdom that you acquire from life, from nature,
from life,
from astrology, from the human being, from biology, from medicine, from science, everything that you take with an objective outlook to find the truth, you will end up finding the truth.
So the more wisdom you acquire, the more wisdom you acquire, the more Hashem's wisdom is imparted on you or within you.
If you are dedicated to find the truth.
If you
Very
so there's
difficult.
a caveat. So there's a caveat if you are committed to finding the truth.
Yes, obviously, because yes.
And also, I'm sorry, I'm asking so many questions. I just want to make sure I get the foundation good. So, is Hashem when you says Hashem is imparting His wisdom on you? Is He giving you a gift that then you use, or is it Hashem doing something?
No, Hashem. It's Hashem put a wisdom in this world with His will. The more you reveal it, the more He's part of you. The more
so you're just like opening up doors.
Exactly.
Okay.
There's no hocus pocus.
Got it.
Good?
Yeah.
Now, and he says there's a human being that was able to almost get to what is called prophecy, and is Aristotle. He didn't learn Torah. He didn't do anything, just through his wisdom, just through his analysis and his revelation of Hashem in nature. He was able to rise all the way until he got almost to the doors, to the gates of prophecy.
Now, is prophecy a certain level that you reach, or is it something that Hashem gives you?
Oh, so prophecy is a complete different level. Prophecy meaning you can be ready for it, but it's Hashem that talks to you. Okay? That's already a proactive connection of Hashem with a man that has so much understanding of nature and that is so much clarity that Hashem now feels that he's the right channel in order for that person to go and share it with his community or the people or whatever it is. And this is why you can have Bil'am, be a great prophet also. All those goyim that had that prophecy, that's how. It's nothing to do with whether you're Jewish or not. It has to do with your connection. Now, you can take that emet and use it in bad. Okay? The emet is one thing. What you do with it is another thing. Okay. Now, Adkan, humanity, and Hashem's interaction. Says the Rambam, the Torah was given, to Am Yisrael as a tool to reveal Him without having to go on a journey and a quest of a goose chase. You don't have to go on a goose chase. It's all here in front of you. It's a gift that was given to Am Yisrael with everything you need to know, the easy way to connect to Hashem. This is a Torah.
Why not give it to all His creation? Why not give it to all men?
Maybe He wanted to, but they didn't want.
Okay.
He did. He went to the Goyim, and the Goyim said no. He went to to the Notzrim, and the Notzrim say, can we steal? Can we kill? He went to Israel. Can we steal? Yeah, he went to everybody. At least that's what Chachamim teach us. Until he went to Am Yisrael and told us, this is it. This is the emet. Good? So, according to the Rambam, the more you connect to the Torah, the more you connect to Hashem. The more you connect to Hashem, the more Hashem, you allow Hashem to live within you intellectually. Right? Good? It's the intense, it's not a diluted version, right? It's the most concentrated version of Hashem in creation, brought to you in a book, as with wisdom, with tremendous chokhmah and insight, and Torah shebichtav, Torah shebi'al peh. So every time you learn Torah, you basically reveal Hashem. Hashem is talking to you and telling you, this is who I am. The more you implement it, absorb it, use it to connect to Him, the more that wisdom will be impactful in your decision and will enlighten you to be able to make the right choice. And this is Hashem talking to you. What happens when a tzaddik gets hurt? Okay, so now what's going on? You have a man that's connected to Hashem through the Torah, through the wisdom of the Torah, and living in a world of randomness and chaos. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so according to the Rambam, a person that's not connected to Hashem is nothing better than an animal. And he says it black and white. He repeats it. And that's why he says the Rambam, if you don't have the proper kavanah when you pray, it's like you're praying to the svuvim,
the birds,
to the
birds,
flies.
right?
You're trying
the
to
flies.
And when a Rasha dies, according to the Rambam, it's very simple. It's just like an animal died. There's nothing that he can use to compare himself to a man. Because the only difference there is between a man, a real man, right, and the rest of animals, it's his intellect. So if he didn't use it to connect properly, so that he never made that differentiation between the rest of humanity and creation and men, what the definition of a man. So the Rambam, as factual as he is, it's also very cruel, not cruel, but crude, because it's a very fine line whether you're allowed to call yourself a man or not.
Wow.
So Rav, I have something sort of unrelated but related. So you have a great man, right? And then he gets older, and as he's getting older, he's getting sick and
that's different. Has nothing to do
sort
with
of a vegetable, and that's sometimes how people remember him, unfortunately, because he spent the last 10 years of his life, not really portraying his wisdom, not really being able to interact with everybody, and unfortunately that's how he's remembered. So how is that fair, or what's the point of him?
No, we're not talking about fair or not fair right now. We don't know, because we don't know. Again, we don't know. We're not here to understand Hashem's judgment, because we don't know if this is due to his behavior or the way he ate or his lifestyle, or is it Hashem's punishment, or is it Hashem cleansing? This is not something we can answer. Okay, it's because what you're asking is like, let me understand Hashem's judgment. We've explained that already. Shlomo has said it. There's no way we can dive into the judgment of Hashem. So it's very hard to understand that. Right now, we're being very factual in the dynamic and the system, okay, that is in place according to the Rambam. Now, then you have a tzaddik veralu, a tzaddik that gets hurt. Gets out of the blue, gets punished, or we don't know. So he says the Rambam, or it's Hashem's way to bring him closer to him, because that's what he wants. Or at that moment, the tzaddik was not connected. So he fell back into the system of randomness, and randomness swallowed him. Okay? So, according to the Rambam, Mechila, that everything that you're accustomed to, that is called nasib, disappears.
It's called what?
Nasib. The Halabi, nasib means mazal. Mazal. Mazel. Right. All this disappears. So what is left? Very simple. Your interaction with the randomness of nature, that could work or not work, which would explain a lot of those bad guys that that have everything versus good guys that have that don't have anything or have it tough. Why? Because it's their energetic interaction, or they're doing something wrong. Yeah, has nothing to do with being a tzaddik or not being a tzaddik. Now, the more you're connected to Hashem, and the more you're enlightened to think and use that wisdom to your benefit in order to serve Hashem better. That's called Hashem's interaction. And if you open the Shulchan Aruch, the Rama brings the Rambam from the Sefer Moreh Nevuchim, okay? And this is the Rambam that talks about Hashgacha. And there's a difference between the interpretation of the Rama, who calls the king Hashem, and the Rambam that clearly, says that the king is the brain. And Hashem talks to humanity through the brain, through the Chokhmah. Good? Very puzzling. Then you have the polar opposite of that outlook. Okay, it's the outlook of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov, and it's very accurate to, again, if you put things in perspective, who they were talking to. Okay, the Rambam was talking to intellectuals, to people that were getting lost in science, that were getting lost with biology and philosophy. So he was trying to bring them back, okay? And that was his audience. The Baal Shem Tov is talking to a completely different audience. He's talking to a people that are undergoing pogroms, that are beaten up by the identity of being Jewish in Russia, and are under a lot of oppression, and are losing their emunah, and are very darkened and sad by all this pain, emotional pain that they're facing. Okay, so the Baal Shem Tov comes up with a complete polar opposite opinion. That is, Hashem controls everything. Everything. What does that mean, everything? Even the trajectory of a leaf that falls, Hashem says this is how you're going to fall. Okay? And Hashem decides if you're going to lift your arm or you're going to put your arm down. If you're going to go right or you're going to go left. If you're going to be happy or you're going to be sad. If you're going to have clarity or not. Everything that happens in this creation, okay, from how dry, okay, the wood in your attic is Hashem. Everything is from Hashem.
So did they put a disclosure and say the Rambam is going with this opinion because of the times that he's in?
No. The Rambam spoke and he said what he said. The Baal Shem Tov spoke and he said what he said. You as an intellectual, okay, if you want to understand what each one says and you want to absorb it and learn from it, it's important to know who they're talking to. I know, if you give a shiur, your shiur is usually, if you're honest with yourself and you're not just repeating what you read, you're going to express where you hold, okay? And you're going to talk, when you express, you talk to your audience, okay? So, for example, you hear my shiurim on Mondays and Thursdays. I know who my audience is, so I speak in a certain way, okay? And I dilute a lot of things that I would like to say just because I don't have Avrechim in front of me. I don't have my Kohelet in front of me listening. You understand? So it's
Who came first, Baal Shem Tov or Rambam?
No, the Rambam. Baal Shem Tov is 250 years old.
Wow.
But in Baal Shem Tov, including mitzvot also, everything is by Hashem, or we have some will?
Well, okay, we're going to get to the Bechira. We're going to get to the Bechira. Okay? So Hashem, because that's very complicated. Where your Bechira fits in the Baal Shem Tov. Okay? Now, the Rambam, the Rambam brings such an opinion. Okay, he says some people believe like that, and it's a Muslim opinion. He says that some Muslims believe like this, and he comes out with a few questions. Question number one, okay, he says, how can you have punishment and reward? If Hashem makes you do everything, right? So when somebody comes and with a vest of explosives and says Allahu Akbar and he presses the button, Hashem made him press that button, right? So he didn't do anything bad.
Right.
And if he was not supposed to explode, then Hashem would not make him explode. The button would not be able to go. The electricity would not go through. Number one. Okay? And number two, says the Rambam, then where is all the mitzvot and averot? If he makes you do everything, then there's no more mitzvot or averot. Right? You put tefillin, he's the one that makes you put tefillin. You eat pork, he made you eat pork. So the Rambam has a lot of questions and rejects bekol hakoach, with all his strength, this opinion. He says, think like this.
By the way, he just punched holes in that theory.
Yes, two things, two questions, and he knock out.
No,
Two
it's a
questions
knockout
and
punch.
Okay, so accountability, okay, and mitzvot and averot. There's no more reward and punishment, and there's no more mitzvah and averah. So everything collapses.
Does Baal Shem Tov answer?
No. So the Baal Shem Tov says that the Bechira lies where it, not in the outcome, but in your desire. Where do you, which direction you feel like you want to take? It's very complicated. I was not able to understand the Baal Shem Tov. I'm repeating words that, to me, until today, I don't have a full understanding of the Baal Shem Tov. I don't.
Can you repeat it one more time?
According to the Baal Shem Tov, the Bechira, okay, is in your choice, okay, to do an action that is the mitzvah or not. Now, after that, everything that happens is Hashem. Don't ask me. I don't understand it. I'm repeating the words that
makes me feel better for not understanding it.
No, listen. I've sat across the table with Chachmei Chabad, okay, and not the top Chachmei Chabad, Chachmei Satmer, Chachmei Breslev. I never was able to really grasp a proper understanding of where the Bechira fits according to the Baal Shem Tov. I don't understand it, but that's what he said. Okay, a lot of people go with it. A lot of people embrace it because it's fantastic. It alleviates all the pressure off your back. Yeah, to the point where somebody from when Chassidut came to me, is like, when I'm cheating on my wife, I don't want to say, Hashem, why are you making me do this? Okay.
Oh boy.
But that's how far you can go.
Can it be related? Can it be related to what we learned the first time? If you want to do something, Hashem will give you the willpower to do it and make you want to do more. Like when you run to shul versus walk to shul.
Yes, but that's not aligned at all with this hashkafa. That's not aligned at all with this hashkafa. I hear what you want to say. What you want to say is your bechira is where you're trying to push the direction you want to go to. Yes, that's what they're saying. That's what they say. I don't understand it. Okay? That means that at the end, that means that everything it's not that I don't understand it. It's very hard to intellectually grasp that everything revolves around an emotion that's very, very deep and apparently spiritual, that triggers something. But why isn't that also part of that?
Right, that could be part of Hashem's will also.
If you control, you control or you don't control. If you don't control, then you don't control. If you control, you control. You understand? It's very hard to say, well, you don't control, but this you control. Because the second you control, you know, the top of the equation, then you control everything. So now, the Baal Shem Tov, one of the big reasons why he came and he promoted this hashkafa was in order to give people the hope and a good feeling that don't worry, everything is in Hashem. You know, dump everything on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, believe in Hashem, be happy, you know, and everything is going to work out. At least it's easier to go through times of difficulties when you know that you have zero control over it. And it's Hashem, and Hashem will, the same way He brought it, He's going to make it go away. So emotionally, it works very, very well.
But Rabbi, didn't we study that Gaon de Vilna said you don't move a finger if Hashem doesn't want?
No, it's not
in terms of materialistic,
in
terms of materialistic issues.
The Gemara says that. Ma kavana. It's not that chas v'shalom. Okay. Okay.
We lost you.
Sorry.
We lost you.
I said we haven't spoken about the third opinion, which includes the Gaon de Vilna. Right now, I just brought two polar opposites. According to the Baal Shem Tov, it means, yeah, Hashem says, okay, lift your finger right now. I want you to lift your finger. This is the Baal Shem Tov. The Rambam will say, no. Hashem put a system in place. Okay, humans can move their fingers. You move your finger, it's your problem. Don't move your finger, it's your problem. Good.
Rob, do we use?
If you're going to tell me, well, why does the Gemara say, you know, a person does not lift his finger if Hashem doesn't allow it? It's very simple. The Rambam will tell you, Hashem put in place that you can lift your finger. And if Hashem did not put in place that you can lift your finger, you would not be able to lift your finger. It's very simple. You don't have to go that far. Okay?
Difficult.
Is Baal Shem Tov always this controversial or no?
I'm sorry?
So do we hold a lot of, do we follow Baal Shem Tov a lot, or it's always controversial?
No, the Baal Shem Tov is the father of Chassidut. He's the father of all the Chassidut. From Chabad to Breslev to Bobov to Satmar to Belz to Kamarna, all the Chassidut, all the Chassidim, all come from the Baal Shem Tov. He's the one that gave birth to, if you will, that new outlook on the Avodat Hashem, on how to serve Hashem, on the Torah, on the Emunah, etc. Very, very emotional, very warm, very spiritual. It's based on a lot of teachings of Kabbalah. And, you know, and after that, every student or every lineage took it in a different way. You know, some took it that way, some took it this way. The Gaon, he was at the time of the Gaon de Vilna. The Gaon de Vilna was against him, and that was the big machloket between the Gaon and the Baal Shem Tov. And that's it. Not to go into politics, but okay. So we have on one end we have the Rambam, which is completely the opposite, which fits everybody. On the right you have the Baal Shem Tov, they are completely opposite, and then you have hybrid version of mostly Chachmei Kabbalah. So this includes Rabbeinu Nissim, the Nimukei Yosef, the Gaon de Vilna. It includes Rabbeinu Chizdai Likraskes, most of the Ari Kadosh, and they have a hybrid. What is this hybrid? They agree with the Rambam all the way until Am Yisrael. Meaning, all the way into Am Yisrael, they agree with the Rambam fully. Ecosystem, everything that's put in place, rules and regulations of nature. Where does the machloket kicks in? If you ask me, it's not a machloket, because I don't think the Rambam wanted to address, again, due to who he was talking to, this aspect of connection. But that's my opinion, huh? That's my opinion. But those Chachamim in the middle and say, you know what? Am Israel, when we were in Har Sinai, Hashem installed a new law, okay, inputted in creation a new law that's called what? My love and special interaction with Am Israel. It's called Hashgacha Pratit. Which means we have a connection no matter what. No matter what. Hashem has a specific, it's like, like a protege. You have that child that you love the most and that you're always looking after. Am Israel. Inside Am Israel, he cares more for who? For the Leviim.
Really?
And then he cares more for who? For the Kohanim. I'm sorry?
Pshat? Just because they're a Levi, nothing.
No, they're Levi because they didn't do the Chet HaEgel. They proved to be very dedicated to Hashem. Okay. And then you have the Kohanim. And then you have Kohen Gadol. And then the highest connection with Hashem is the Talmid Chacham.
Where does Israel fit?
Huh? That's how we start. You start with Israel, which is, as a nation, Hashem took us as the Am Segula, the people that is close to His heart. So by default, Hashem has a direct interaction with us, and guides us naturally. How? Through the Chokhmah, through the Neshama. At that point, the divergence is that it goes from simple intellectual knowledge that you know how to apply, according to the Rambam, to an intuitive influence that is called the Neshama. Intuitive influence, an intuition, a new koach that's called the Neshama, which is as Hashem's presence in a human. The more that Neshama is pure, the more you allow Hashem to interact with you. The more you connect to that essence of yours, the more you are aware to that impact in your life, to that new identity. So the reason why the Talmid Chacham, the Oved Hashem, is at the highest level is because you have Kohen Gadol, Am Haaretz. There was, in the second Bet HaMikdash, you had Kohen Gadol, and it was sold like it was auctioned. So you had Talmidei Chachamim that were at much higher level than the Kohen Gadol. So the Talmid Chacham, the one that dedicates his life to his neshama, to serving life, to operating above the sun, okay, is in full osmosis with his neshama, which makes him a full osmosis with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now HaKadosh Baruch Hu can send an inflow of His presence, of His wisdom, of His will into that neshama. That neshama is a power that then translates all this into intellect, intuition, guiding, vision, clarity that will then be implemented in the life of that Talmid Chacham. Am I clear?
I'm processing.
Me too.
Yeah, that's the word, processing.
Again.
Let's go with the Talmid Chacham again. The last few sentences.
Okay. We've understood. Okay. According to the okay, you need to listen to what I'm saying before you go and read commentaries. I promise you, if you start reading commentaries, you're going to get more confused.
I wasn't reading the commentary. I was
just
actually.
Because no, you have polar opposite. We didn't even start the first word of the pen.
By the way,
Yes,
I was actually reading the Peshat because I'm trying to understand what the simple Shlomo HaMelech.
No, you can't. You can't if you don't know where you hold. If you don't know where you hold, you're going to get confused.
Okay, go ahead.
This is also a great introduction to Mishlei, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So again, the third opinion. Hashem in Matan Torah chose Am Israel. When He chose Am Israel, what is the definition of choosing? What happened? he created a direct link with each and every one of Am Yisrael. That is called the Neshama. Good? So the Neshama is a direct pipeline link between Hashem and every one of Am Yisrael.
And non-Jews don't have this link?
I'm sorry?
Non-Jews don't have this link? They have no neshama?
No.
Zero neshama?
No. They have the nefesh, they have the ruach, no neshama.
Like animals.
No. They have the ability, they agree with the Rambam that they have the ability to connect, just like Aristotle did, all the way to Nevuah. They can. But it's not, they don't have that direct connection. What's the difference between the Rambam and the Rabbeinu Nissim, for example, and the Sforno and all these, is that is Matan Torah a transmission of wisdom or source of wisdom that you can connect to in order to reveal Hashem? Is it a source of it, or is it a real connection? According to the Rambam, it's a source of wisdom that allow you to connect. According to the Rani Mukhe Yosef, the third opinion, it's a connection. When Hashem gave the Torah, He created a pipeline, a connection, and the only way to cut that connection is the apikoros. He's the only one, because if everybody else, doesn't matter how big of a Rasha he is, he still has that connection, and that's this is what Teshuvah is all about, that even if you're all so far, there's always a spark of light that's connected. What's that spark? What's that connect? That's the connection. It's called the Neshama. Okay? Now, that pipeline, okay, was attributed to all Klali Yisrael. All of us. Good?
Good. I got it now.
And then that pipeline is a little bit wider for the Leviim. Why? They had Misirut Nefesh, they didn't sin from Chet HaEgel, so they were not exposed to all the Hata'im. Therefore, their pipeline is a little bit wider.
So it's easier for them to connect to Hashem?
It could be, yeah. They have a stronger relationship with Hashem, absolutely. The Kohen Gadol, the Kohen, has a wider pipeline than the Levi.
That's encouraging.
Kohen Gadol has a wider pipeline because of his the nature of his work and representation of Am Yisrael. The Talmid Chacham has the widest pipeline because it's not something, he took something that's inhibited, which is something very thin, and worked it through the Chokhmat Torah and made it bigger and bigger and bigger, and until he developed his personal, intimate connection with Hashem through his Torah. So that pipeline is a pipeline of inflow of Hashem in you. It's how much of Hashem is in you. That's the pipeline. Do you have a default Hashem in you? Do you have a bigger one? It's called the Levi. Do you have a bigger one? It's called the Kohen. That's why the Kohen cannot marry a ger, because there's so much inflow of Hashem that this transition doesn't sit well. The Kohen Gadol, more restrictions. The Talmid Chacham, he molded his own intimate relationship with Hashem. As you grow, that pipeline becomes so wide that there's the inflow of Hashem that comes down is called Ruach HaKodesh. You have now so much inflow that you can foresee things because the clarity of Hashem, you have so much Hashem in you that you can foresee things. The clarity and the outlook on life is so bright to you that you see what others don't see, all the way down where the inflow is. The pipeline is so wide that you have nevuah, you have prophecy. Good?
What was the gap? You said Aristotle reached almost prophecy. What was the gap that stopped him from reaching prophecy?
Okay. So the gap is his desire, his animalistic desires. We discussed that in the earlier shurim.
Yeah.
He was able to be super intellectually connected, but he was a complete animal when it came to his desires.
Got it.
So are we good? So
What,
here,
just one question. In Ramban, the system and processes in place, what would they be in a big picture? What are they?
I'm sorry?
He says Ramban puts system and procedure. Hashem puts, what are they?
Mazal, influence of the astrology, rules of gravity, the rules of the desire of the lion to eat its prey, the man's instinct to reproduce, animal instinct to reproduce, all the laws of nature.
Okay.
Every law of nature, from the color of a plant to the way a tree grows, to the taste of an apple versus an agrume, to the shape and the color of a lemon. All these are rules and regulations that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put in place. After that, how many etrogim will grow from each tree? Hashem couldn't care less. If you did your job well, and the weather was good, then you're gonna have good product.
Okay. Thank you.
Rav, I'm not sure if it's the proper time to ask this question, but is this the first time Hashem created a world?
No. For sure not. We know that. He was building and destroying, building and destroying until he created this world.
But this world is supposed to be 6,000, whatever the timeline is. This world will eventually be finished. Is this going to be eternal?
So there's physical and then there's spiritual. The physical comes to an end and the spiritual continues.
So was there spirituality in the other worlds, or those were never, he destroyed them too quickly?
It's a very, very good question. It's a very good question. There's not, we know that there has been some the problem is that you cannot call it spiritual because you don't have the parameters of this world to call it spiritual. The reason you call something spiritual is compared to the physical. You understand? So it's foreign. It's E.T., That's what it is. It's a world of
I guess my follow-up question would be: is if there was spiritual, what would that look like today? Where would that spirituality live? Would it live in our Olam Haba or a different Olam Haba?
No, you can't. These are answers you can't answer because we don't have the parameters. All we know is that he was creating the world and destroying it.
Are all the secrets of the world revealed in Olam Haba, or you're only on like the next level and there's still,
No, you never get to the full revelation. You never get to the full revelation. It's impossible because at the end of the day, the full revelation would be to think like
godly, right?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Right.
So, okay. So here we have those three verticals. Okay. You have the Rambam.
The room today.
Which
I'm busy.
Me too.
The Rambam is not a
The
Rambam is not a contradiction to the middle opinion. He just decides to stop explaining the Hashgacha in a way where you have to connect to the Chokhmat Torah in order to connect to Hashem.
But the hybrid is contradictory from the Baal Shem Tov.
Absolutely.
It's not really in the middle. It's really more a twist on Rambam.
Correct. It's an upgraded version of the Rambam.
Right.
Correct. And then you have the Baal Shem Tov, which is Akol Min HaShamayim, Akol Min HaShamayim, Akol Min HaShamayim. Okay. Now, no, you choose what you want, and you feel that it's to your discretion to decide what you feel your heart is more connected to. Okay. After in my quest of Ashgacha, and believe me, every big Talmid Chacham, all their life kept on trying to understand Ashgacha. So we're very, very far from understanding it. Okay, I gave you what I gave you is not a drop in the sea of the depth, okay, of Hashgacha. 20 years I'm learning about it and giving shurim about it, okay? So it's not something, however, the direction. And it's important to be able to understand a direction that sits well with you, and it might change. Eventually you might grow out of it. You might, you through your learning reveal that you understand things a different way. Okay, it's fine. It's not something. It's like nobody's wrong in all these three opinions.
Can I ask you the way you hold, Rav?
The third opinion. I started my life with the Ashkafa of the Baal Shem Tov. That's how I started. And then I was exposed to the Rambam in depth with my Rabbanim, and I realized that if I decide to grow and I really want to grow step by step, it's impossible for me to accept the Baal Shem Tov. And I realized that I really didn't understand the Baal Shem Tov. Yeah, it feels great. It makes you, it makes you feel happy, and it's a free life because you unload a tremendous burden off your back by saying Hashem takes care of everything. Right? So I'm not accountable for anything. All I have to do is find Hashem. I have to want to find Hashem, and that's all that matters at this point. That's all I can do. Okay.
I appreciate where Baal Shem Tov is coming from, because he was only 250 years ago. He knew the next generation to come probably couldn't handle the way that Rambam laid it out originally.
Very possible. Very possible. That's why maybe the Hasidut is so big today. Absolutely. I'm just giving facts. That's how I started. I had a very hard time.
Rav, I have a question for you. Why do you think, and maybe it's an unanswerable question, but why do you think Hashem imparted this kind of wisdom in the Torah on us that has so many levels of interpretation?
Oh, we're gonna go into that. Okay. Once we start the Perek, there's the Da'at Zvunot has a very, very clear reasoning behind exactly that specific question in the first two Pesukim. The Zohar also. We're going to dive into that. That's exactly where we need to go.
Okay.
Baruch Hashem, we didn't do this at 8 a.m. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So then if you will, then I was exposed to the Rambam, and then the Rambam made so much sense. And you know what? It pushes you to be accountable for your actions and to have a different outlook on the interaction with creation, understand the Mazal better, understanding that at the end of the day, Mazal is not something that it's imposed and drop on your head. It's a reaction to your actions. To me, it fits perfectly, especially when the Mazalot are the constellation of the asters and the stars, and stars influence water, and we're 72% of water, so by default we're influenced by the stars, and that's and for me it's perfect. I completely adhered to that opinion, fully. And then as you grow. The only problem that you have when you finish with the Rambam and at least when you think you understand the Rambam is okay. So what happened in Matan Torah? So that's what was given to us. Only the Torah. He didn't, So what doesn't sit well is that so I'm not special at the end of the day. You have a lot of people in Am Yisrael. Stop saying that you're a special people. You're not the special people. You're not so special. Okay, so you received the Torah, but you're not special. So stop saying that you're the chosen people. That's where everything lies. Are you chosen or you're not chosen? What's the definition of chosen? Exposure to the Torah versus a direct connection with Hashem. I think that the Rambam in his times, okay, it's times of Renaissance. It's times of the Christianity is at its fullest power. There's the growth of Islam that's growing, that's taking over. For him to come and say, we are the chosen people, with the position that he had as the philosopher, as the advisor to the king, would have caused him a tremendous amount of problem. So does that mean that what he wrote to save his back? No. He spoke to people, to a community that was conflicted between Christianity and the uprise of Islam that was becoming bigger and stronger every day. And they had to decide. It was times where you had to decide what you want. Do you want to be Muslim or you want to be Christian? Yes, there's no room for Judaism.
So he was afraid. He was afraid.
I don't think he was afraid. I think he needed to give the most pragmatic answers to the people so that they choose intellectually and not out of fear. Because out of fear, they would fall or for Christianism or for Islam, whoever is the more cruel or the more powerful in that region. If you cannot intellectually understand and accept something, and you accept it out of blind faith, then blind faith can be wiped in a second with fear. You understand? So the Rambam was not able, I think, to expose more than that. But I don't believe that the Rambam ever rejected, okay, the opinion of the Arizal, of the Ran, and everything. I don't think so.
No, just the Baal Shem Tov. Not that it was his at the time, but that idea.
He rejected the idea of the Baal Shem Tov.
No, I'm saying
he writes it black and white.
No, I'm saying he rejected the idea, but not that Baal Shem Tov said it, because Baal Shem Tov came after.
No, the Baal Shem Tov came 700 years later.
Right, I'm saying he rejected his philosophy, just not
his philosophy. That was the philosophy that was
the philosophy.
At the time,
That's right.
Believed by one group of Muslims. There was two groups. You have the Shiite and the Sunnite. I don't know which one, but one of them had this philosophy, and that he rejected it. He went through every different outlook on Ashgacha. May
I ask one question?
Sure.
Based on the situation now of the Jewish in the world, Hasidut is working very good, as you said.
Correct.
So perhaps it's something good for Jewish people to do teshuvah.
Absolutely. Again, nobody's saying what's good and what's bad. Don't get me wrong. Okay?
No, but just to think what is good for one to do teshuvah. I cannot think what is good and what is right. I have no chokhmah to decide where to go.
I think that it's all good. It depends on the wiring of each individual. You have people. Look, it's like you tell me what. Some people they're gonna say, you know what? For me, it's all Gemara. Others they will tell you, for me, it's only Halacha. Others they will tell you, for me, I love Kabbalah. I love Musa. It's the same. It's like all of them are emet and all of them are important, and it depends what talks to you and what allows you to grow. And if you ask me, I think that yes, the reason why Hasidut works so well is because we're in a generation that's completely messed up. Nobody knows who they are. Nobody really is emotionally stable. Nobody has a direction. Nobody wants to be accountable for their actions. So that's the best way possible. And that's why you come out and you see people jumping on cars, smoking pot, and with a big peot and say, Hashem, I love you. Okay. And that's good for them. Don't get me wrong. And it's a way to connect. If you ask me personally, it doesn't work. And it doesn't work for I think it doesn't work for anyone that's factual and intellectual and needs a process, needs a system in order to build an interaction with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, well, there was a revelation that's called Hidbodedut, right? Rabbi Nachman came with this concept of Hidbodedut. Rabotai, Hidbodedut was existing since the time of Adam HaRishon.
What's that?
Okay?
What is that?
Hidbodedut is when you take your time and you disconnect to connect with Hashem. You disconnect with everything and you talk to Hashem. You know when that started? Ayeka. When Hashem told Adam HaRishon, Ayeka, where are you? He told him basically, you need to reflect on yourself. That's it. This is the Hidush of Hidbodedut. After that, it was how it came out, Tefillah, Limud Torah, or commercializing this way or that way. It's all folkloric. It's all like, it's like the way you package
marketing.
It's marketing, exactly. It's marketing. Here we addressed the three main, there's different colors here and there, three main arteries of our. The reason why it was so important for me to address it is because if you start reading this perek and you don't go with one direction, you're going to get completely confused. Because the statements that Shlomo HaMelech make are so mind-boggling and can be so troubling that it will rock the boat if you don't have what to hold on with and understand what he really means.
Well, we
All right,
rocked the boat
homework.
today.
So homework is pick a path.
Correct. So if it's okay with the way I would like to, we're gonna set the direction based on the third opinion. Okay? The hybrid, which is an opinion I live by
The
day
direct
to day and I
connection.
breathe. I'm sorry?
That we're connected.
That you are connected, but your connection depends on your devotion to that connection. Good?
Can I ask what Shlomo HaMelech had in mind when he wrote this?
We don't know. I don't know, because you can read it one way or another.
Right, otherwise we wouldn't have this conversation. Right.
Correct. So that's that. However, I will always bring, okay, an opinion that sounds like the opinion of the Baal Shem Tov.
But Rav, if you look at it, because I was reading the introduction to Mishleh, and not to go off track, but if you look at it with the meanings of Musar and Binah, then you would think that it's according to the opinion that we're going, meaning like
Absolutely.
If you have Chokhmah, but you don't build upon it and you don't know how to make the right decision.
My outlook is an outlook that is aligned with, again, most of Chachmei Musar, the Ibn Ezra, the Seforno, the Ran, the Gaon Vilna, the Arizal, all the Ramchal, all those Talmidei Chachamim, all those Rabbanim were aligned perfectly with, if you want, that hybrid version. Now, the beauty is that the more of that pipeline you have, the wider it is, the more inflow you have, the more you impact nature, right? And we understand why, because of the Elokim. So because now suddenly you infuse through your actions that will of Hashem, that connects to the will of Hashem in nature, that brings out the will of Hashem, right? And at that point, you control it. What is that called? Ba'alanes. That's a Ba'alanes. Somebody that makes a miracle is somebody that uses the will of Hashem that lives within him through his connection with Hashem, connects to the will of Hashem through his action. It's another trigger, because at the end it's not him who's acting; it's Hashem that's with him. So if it's Hashem that's with him and it's connecting to Hashem that's in nature, then there's no rules of nature. It's called the Ba'alanes, the person that makes miracles. That's called the miracle.
I need to lie down.
Okay, so now we have an introduction to the perek. I suggest, if you can,
Take 2 Advil, drink water, and lie down.
Yeah. Listen to the shiur again, because I'm sorry I came out, but that's the only way we're going to be able to really go through that perek.
It was perfect.
Thank you, Rav.
Wow.
Thank you,
Beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
I suggest you listen to it again before
Thank
the next shiur.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Rav.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a nice day.
Have a good day.
Shabbat tov. Love you guys.
Shabbat tov.